Meet node. This node represents an individual. With just two nodes, we can represent a simple system.
In any system, there are two basic ways nodes can interact with each other. The first way can be referred to as command and control because in this system, one node gives the orders while the other carries out the orders. The second way can be referred to as free exchange because the relationship is more reciprocal, which is to say cooperative and voluntary.
Systems built around free exchange are called networks. Systems built on relationships of command and control are called hierarchies.
In a hierarchy, layers of command and control form from the top down. At the top, nodes issuing commands are in ultimate control. Near the bottom, nodes carry out orders sent from above and then send information back up the layers of hierarchy. During this process, however, some information can get lost. Imagine a game of telephone you might have played as a kid. As chains of hierarchy lengthen and more layers are introduced, more information is lost. Controller nodes have more difficulty issuing commands and making decisions.
In a network, activity happens from the bottom up, which is to say there are no controller nodes. Rather, peer-to-peer relationships form in collaboration.
Networks are often more efficient and are less likely to lose information because said information, not to mention decision-making power, is usually more evenly distributed around the system. Of course, without a single node in charge, networks are limited in their ability to make a single system-wide course of action.
Networked orders achieve a sweet spot between the rigid order of a hierarchy and the chaos of unconnected nodes. But without certain ordering forces that preserve the network's integrity, dissolution can result. We'll return to these ordering forces in a moment.
Which system do you think is sustainable? Scalable?
Of course, we all know that certain hierarchies can suffer from inefficiency, waste, path dependence, which you might think of as organizational bad habits, and mission creep. Despite these problems, hierarchies can still perform intact.
But there are organizational limits to hierarchies. Three ways hierarchies reach their limit are separation, collapse, or transition.
With separation, part of a hierarchy splits off to form another smaller, more manageable hierarchy.
With collapse, either information breakdown occurs, or centralized control from the top down is lost. The system, well, collapses.
With transition, the network begins to deal with the increased information and increased complexity by flattening the hierarchy, which is to say, it begins making a transition from hierarchy into a network.
In returning to our very simple two-node hierarchy, we might say that the nature of the relationships between the nodes changes from one of commands to one of collaboration.
So, if we were to take our two basic types of systems and scale them up to the level of society, what would we get? In other words, what kinds of social orders result from large-scale hierarchies and large-scale networks? Hierarchical social orders are known as planned orders, or centrally planned societies. Networked social orders are known as spontaneous orders, a term coined by Friedrich August von Hayek.
What are some examples of planned social orders? Government bureaucracies, socialist economies, some family households, some companies. Of course, each of these systems can vary in their relative ability to function well as hierarchies, but all are marked by their top-down command and control organization.
What are some examples of spontaneous social orders? Ecosystems, market economies, the Internet. Of course, there are some transitional or hybrid organizations with characteristics of both a hierarchy and a network, but spontaneous orders are marked far more by characteristics of the latter.
What are the defining characteristics of a spontaneous order? Peer-to-peer, interaction is voluntary, networked, and reciprocal. Decentralized, power centers tend to break up and spread out continuously. Prosperous, marked by continuous value creation. Complex, so complex in its totality it's unknowable by any individual or group. Scalable, virtually no limits to growth and development.